So I never knew how to say his last name. What is George Takei, Taki, you know, George. You know him from Star Trek and what have you. Just call him George. Mama named him George. Maybe I think that's what they name him. Call him George. This is what he has about the news, and when it broke yesterday, he had this to say, or broke the other day, he has this to say. He says, make no mistake, Texas and Mississippi opening back up to 100% will disproportionately impact and kill minorities. So that's the angle that he's going, right? Freedom is racist. Like, you gotta, like, look, we're talking about literal NPCs here, okay? That's the angle that they're going with. Why do you wonder, like, man, these fools apply racism or try to find racism everywhere? It's because that's all they have. It's all they have. So the firmware can't be updated, I guess. I always talk about them getting new updates to come up with new arguments. This is the best that they got. This is version 7.0 that we're already dealing with. And they still have not found another go-to there. So here we go. If they want to paint something as bad, they'll call it racist. They'll call it white supremacy. They'll call it something of that nature. Nazism, sympathizers. And, they'll go that route because they have fucking nothing else to fall back on. So stupid, man. Like, that's what he's saying. Oh, well, we're gonna give you guys the freedom to choose. Well, that you can't do that, says George, because racism. Let's continue on, because he said it's to disproportionately impact and kill minorities who compromise much of the essential workforce bearing the brunt of this pandemic. And it's like, first of all, I don't know how this would impact them, because the people that are doing first of all, there's no such thing as essential work, or rather every bit of work is essential if it puts food on the table. Nonetheless, you're not up to determine that. But of course they use this term, you found this essential work, and they say, but my thing is, like, these fools have been working this entire time if they're so essential. Like, what changes? What, more people get to work? What, you thought that was only exclusive to the essential people, and now more people get to work, so you're at more, like, what does that even mean, George? He says this is criminal. A racist death sentence for so many who could have been spared. And that's the fear-mongering apocalypse that they never got, that they're going to continue to say. The fact of the matter is, again, we'll go to the receipts yet again. According to, which is a bulletin on the WHO, is a peer-reviewed from my man's John Ioannidis. He shows for people under 70 years, the infected fatality rate in terms of its crude and corrected medium is 0.05%. That ain't a death sentence, George. See, when I think death sentence, I think, I get it, I die. But that's not how this works. These people are more likely to die, in a lot of cases, for a big significant portion of the population, more likely to die en route to their job that they can finally now work, that they couldn't work before. They're more likely to die from that than they are from COVID. It's not a death sentence. What is it? Like, they act like you can't Google this type of stuff. So they say stuff like this. It's not a death sentence. So it's two stupid things that George said here. Let's recap for those that maybe somehow got late here to the party. Number one stupid thing is that he's trying to pin some sort of racism and that, well, they did that with the pandemic. Oh, well, it's disproportionately what is this? First of all, there's nothing that you do that's disproportionate, or that it is not. Let's say that, because equality isn't a thing. There are so many things to consider, whether it be culture, people's actions, what they generally do from day to day. Like, this idea that I guess we're all going to be representative in any given human affair in proportion to the population is fucking nonsense. Makes absolutely no sense. So they love to, well, okay, what's the makeup of this. Oh well, it's these people. They only make 13% of the population, and they make 15% of this. Well, there's some racism. God damn it, man. That in itself is stupid. But that was the thing, number one. But also, it's this idea that it's a death sentence. That's fear mongering, and it's statistically false. Not my opinion. George is lying. It's not a death sentence for really anybody. Even for old people, bro. Like, it's still they're highly likely to live from this, even older people. But specifically, as I mentioned, for people under the age of 70, 0.05, bro. That's what we talking. It's not a death sentence. What is it with these celebrities and these weirdos, these blue check marks, these government officials, and of course the sheep that follow them, or the lemmings? That's what we said. That follow them, in which they've got to cling on to this idea that this virus is far worse than what it is. And maybe because it was politically advantageous, it made heroes out of so many people, right? Got arrogant nurses on TikTok pop locking and shit right in your face as you got put out of work. Band can't tour and all that, but meanwhile these fuckers is working in supposedly very stressful situations. And I guess what they say, well, they just had they got full choreographed things, and they just needed to let it off a little steam. Yeah, man, that's the thing I do when I'm very stressed out and working very strenuous kind of in environments. The first thing that I think to do is choreograph a fucking dance routine. Shut the fuck up. Anyway, like I was saying, they never got that apocalyptic virus. And they want it so bad, and they are still going to attempt to speak it into existence. But like I've said numerous times, when it comes to Texas and Mississippi or other states that may within the next couple of weeks start to reopen, any event that there's any sort of uptick that they think that they can pin it on it, like let's say that it's bad, they're going to say, well, it's because of the lack of mask mandates or the lack of enforcement of certain restrictions. But if it doesn't go there, which is more likely, and they'll fuzzy the numbers as much as they can. But if it doesn't go there, they're going to say that, well, it was like the vaccine. So either way, they come out on top. They're going to play. It's easy. It's very predictable. But they never got an apocalyptic virus. And here they are still lecturing you. Got George with blue checkmark George here. Still lecturing you, pretending as if it's something that it's not. As if you can't for yourself look it up. And I honestly believe that that's what they're counting on. They're counting on the idea that you ain't gonna fucking question it. Is it a death sentence? Let me look up, actually research some things. And all research points to this. It is not a death sentence for most people. Will people die? Yeah. Same thing can be said for a multitude of other things. Is the trade-off worth, I don't know, shutting people up for life? Probably not. Forcing them to get a vaccine? Probably not. Forcing them to put diapers on their face? Probably not. But let them tell it is. They don't want to get caught with egg on their face.